Good morning. Oh my God. My sense of time is so weird right now. I was about to be like, "Good morning, happy Friday." And then obviously it's not Friday, it's Wednesday. Um I yeah, my sense of time is really off right now. But good morning. Hello, Alice. That's first. No, you are actually first. It's so funny. Actually, for your Monday stream, I got there because I was like, oh, I don't want to miss it. Like, I don't want to miss the beginning. Like, I want to, like, say hi with like the first bunch of people. So I think I got there at like 3 minutes before. Oh, hello. Thank you so much for subscribing again to King Organic. My gosh. Um, yeah, so I got to your stream at like 3 minutes before, and oh, thank you. I think I got an emote. Thank you. Thanks to Decaying Organic subscription. Um, I'm still. Oh, wait. Okay, so I think that's. I'm still confused about Twitch and how it works. Sorry, ignore that. Oh, hello to Varun. Yeah, so I got to Alice's stream like 3 minutes early, and I was about to be like first, and then nobody was there. So then I felt really weird. So I just waited in the chat room for like 3 minutes until you came on, Alice. That was my story. Yep, that's it. Um, but yeah, wow. I feel so out of it. Because apparently I thought today was Friday. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Alice. Yay. Um, but I feel so out of it today. I don't think you can tell at all. But I usually have like pretty much monolids. I have double lids today on this side because of lack of sleep. This only happens when I'm lacking sleep, and it only happens on one side where I get double lids. Um, which I think when I was a teenager and I really cared about. So, I don't know how many people know this, but in Asian culture, there's like an obsession with double eyelids because, like, then if you have double eyelids, um, your eyes look bigger and thus it's like considered more beautiful. And so when I was in high school as a teenager, I really cared about that and I really, really, really wanted double eyelids. Um, and and then I was like, why? Like, and of course, like in high school or college, like you do enough, like you probably lack sleep a lot. And so I would often get like basically accidental double eyelids, except only on one eye. And it was like it's not the biggest frustration, but it was like one of my like, why do I only get double eyelids only on one eye? It's just like uneven. Um, so yeah, that was a short story. Um, and then I think when I first went to college and I had access to like double eyelid tape, I tried that for a while, and then I was like, this is a lot of work. And then I think these days I've come to accept like just my eyes and monolids. But sometimes once in a while when I'm really tired, there was one time I was so tired that I had eyelid for like 3 days straight, but only in this eye, and I was like, why can't you just even like why can't you just why can't you just either be just monolids or like just double? Like why do you have to be both? Yep, that was it. Uh, yeah, so I tried eyelid tape when I was a freshman for a while, but um oh so for learning D3, um I should really work on my like FAQ section. Oh, I should really also work on. Ooh, thank you. Um, this is my morning coffee, so I should really also work on Twitch commands, like Nightbot commands, so that you can just like ask like the questions. But that should be one of the like Nightbot Twitch commands. So for learning D3, I have a workshop on front end masters called Introduction to D3, and that is basically my answer to like how should I go about learning D3. And it's kind of packed with like all of my it's packed basically with this is how I wish I learned D3 when I was first learning D3. So that's what I would with React, I have a few React and D3 talks. I think the one that's probably the most viewed is my React and D3 talk from React Amsterdam, I think. But that's like 3 years old. 2 years old. And I haven't done React since then. So I'm not a good authority on React and D3 really. So yeah. But and the reason why I've been tired is because this project that I've been working on, which I published another story on, let me show it. I published another story yesterday morning. I was hoping to publish another one this morning, but I couldn't get the visual done in time. So this is the one I published yesterday. Let me make it bigger. And I think I've come to terms with the fact that it takes me 2 days to do one story. I was really hoping to be able to do like a cadence of one story per day, but I think with the kind of the depth that I want to try and go into for the stories, it's been taking me roughly 2 days to flesh out the story and flesh out the design and annotate everything and make sure that it flows. So sorry, I feel like the music is a little bit loud, so let me turn that down. So yeah, it takes me some time. I think especially the part trying to figure out the story takes me, like the flow of the story, not just like the shape of the story, but the flow of the story. That's been really interesting. And that takes me a little bit to like get all of the words right. And then if I have to analyze the data too, that always takes much longer. So this one, I think from start to finish, from like getting the data, cleaning it a little bit, merging it with another data set, and then I didn't do any analysis for this data set. I think because this one, thanks to the kind of like consultant, like expert consultants I have, I knew exactly the story, like shape of this story, so I didn't have to do any data analysis, or else it would have taken a lot longer. So data cleaning, design, story, code, and to annotate. This took, I think, about 13 hours, a little bit more than 13 hours. So this one is about gerrymandering. And so this one I'm also quite proud of, just because gerrymandering was like a topic that I found really intimidating and I didn't know if I could tackle. But because of the kind of consultants that I have, I'm really grateful to them. They like kind of help me understand and help me feel comfortable with the story enough to work on it. So yeah, so kind of talking about how can you have like a bipartisan redistricting for next year, and that one is if one party doesn't control all of the state legislature and governorship at the same time, which in Texas is currently true. And then this year, all seats of the House are up for election in Texas. So if we want bipartisan redistricting, then Democrats need to flip the House. Currently they're, I think, 8 away, or Yeah, so they need 9 seats. And then this was really interesting data. This was really interesting data of like what is the likelihood of one party winning that seat over the other. Um, and so this is data from Moneyball by Princeton Gerrymandering Project. They had kind of they actually aggregated some other data sources that kind of like project the likelihood of one party winning a seat. Um, and their kind of like spin on it is, I think, from a redistricting angle of like, if you know what do you need to do? What are the steps that are needed to get the state legislature to kind of like a bipartisan control for fair redistricting? So that's Princeton Gerrymandering Project. And then, yeah, I think this part took a little bit to figure out how to lay out, and then like kind of this part of the short story, I really struggled with um the wording for this part of the story because I wanted to make sure it was as neutral and nonpartisan as possible. But then like that's a hard balance when you're saying that like one party needs to like win for like bipartisan control. But hopefully I like try like hopefully I was able to be pretty neutral. Um, and yeah, and then the kind of the conclusion. Yeah. So I really liked, this is one of the things that I've like kind of expert consultant said. This is how he explained gerrymandering to me, and I was like, whoa. It was, yeah, voters go to the polls to pick their representatives, but when one party gets to draw the lines, that's when representatives get to pick their voters. So when both parties get a say in drawing the lines, you get fairer maps for everyone. So yeah, that really helped me click for me. I thought that was such a like powerful way to put it. Yeah, so this took 13 hours. And then I also, this is the story I was working on Friday stream, and this I think took 4 days, I think, to get to this story. Um, but and I know that we had some discussion in the chat on Friday about like the wording of this, the data, how like the data is calculated, and whether it's misleading to have just like two discrete points on the x-axis. And I hope the way that I've kind of like annotated it, I hope it makes it make more sense, and kind of like gives it, like, I hope that it now makes sense why I decided to go with this sort of visual. I originally wanted it to be a longer story, and that's why I struggled for like 4 days, because I wanted to add in, because these are all the states data, but I also have data by county. And so I wanted to kind of give one more story where like I wanted to dig deeper into one state's story and like the behavior of the counties. But I couldn't justify the extra story, and like the kind of the additional swiping that would require. So after 4 days, decided to keep it simple, and then kind of ended just with like early voting dates. Yeah, but this one really struggled with it. I thought it would be a easier story to do, but I think really struggled with the content itself. Yeah. 484, thank you so much for joining, and see you next time. Yeah, so for today, I'm in the middle of working on the part 2 for this gerrymandering story, and I'm really excited about it. See, words that I never thought would be put into the same sentence that I ever speak. That I am excited about a gerrymandering story. But this one is, the current one I'm working on is about how much impact like if you were to donate $100 to a campaign, where would it have the most impact? And that one is kind of trying to make the point of like you could donate it to a presidential campaign and that's great, but like it's not going to have as much impact as if you had donated it to like a local or state campaign. And actually, yeah, because I don't know if this is common knowledge or I just yesterday looked up um how much each of the presidential campaigns had raised. And according to the FEC, the Biden campaign has raised more than $900 million, which like is a figure that I can barely wrap my mind around. And I think the Trump campaign has raised like 560 million. I think Biden is like 950 or, and then the other one is like 500, yeah, 560 or something $1 million. It like blows my mind. I can't wrap my mind around it. And the other half of the story is how the state elections. So, for example, these 9 districts, and the kind of like the main point of this part one story is that if Democrats can win these 9 districts, then it would flip the House in their favor, and then at least Democrats will have control of the House, while Republicans have control of the governorship and Senate, and this will lead to hopefully a fair redrawing of the maps next year. So these 9 districts like are quite important in Texas. And these 9 districts, the elections there, the campaigns in total, I think in total, these 9 districts together for both major parties have raised $12 million. So 18 candidates have raised 12 million versus one presidential candidate has raised 900 million. Like blows my mind the magnitude. I think before this election, I never really thought about how much money went into, like, I mean, I knew like that, like campaigns required a lot of money. But don't think I really ever thought about exactly how much. Oh, hello. Hi, Marilia P. Welcome. And I'm so glad you're finally watching live too. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the story that I was trying to finish yesterday and I wasn't able to because I had a recording of Front End Happy Hour. It was my first official recording as part of the panel, the part of the Front End Happy Hour panel. So that was really fun and exciting. I'm really excited for that episode to come out. So I think the episode where I was a guest is probably coming out in the next week or two, and then after that, I'm I'm an official panelist. It was so fun. Just like I really like the people on Friend Happy Hour podcast, so I'm just happy I get to like have basically like a regular cadence of like kind of like meeting up and hanging out. Hello, Blue Radon. Welcome back. I hope you've recovered from your all-nighter. I think I'm like slowly, I think I recovered like over the weekend, and then I think the beginning of this week, I don't think I've made it better for myself. So I'm like up and down. um, yeah, but today, I want to, hold on, this is my breakfast. It's been a rough time in terms of like sleep schedule, trying to get these stories out because I have a really bad habit of nitpicking every single detail. I'm the like really annoying person that's like pushing pixels until the very end. I feel like there's like some sort of story about how engineers get annoyed at designers that like make them push pixels, but I'm that person. I'm like both the designer and the engineer, like together in one body. So I just annoy myself. um, but yeah. Anyways, because of that, my sleep schedule has been all out of whack. So I unfortunately only just woke up 30 minutes before the stream. And also, yeah, which means that I was late and uh, I'm sorry that I haven't been as punctual in these morning streams as I would like to be. It's just been kind of hard from trying to get these stories out in a regular cadence. But what was I trying to get to? Oh, okay. So I'm today hoping to work on kind of preparing the next story. Um, and the next story I wanted to do was we actually have uh, some early voting numbers, which is really exciting. So there's one um, from this project, this U.S. elections project, um, which is really amazing. Today, oh my God, this the 28th. Um, so, ooh, yeah. So this professor, has been aggregating early vote statistics for all of the states, I think. Which is this is so amazing. Um, so another thing I learned while working on this project is that last presidential election, I think the turnout was 160 million, something like that. And in early votes alone this year, we're at 74 million. It's amazing. And then 25 million in person and 48 million mail-in ballots. And so there's been an idea, ooh, yeah, this one is getting better. Um, this data set is getting better. Uh, turned outstanding. So this is yet to be returned. I am within the yet to be returned. I need to fill my ballot this weekend. And then I'm probably gonna put it in a Dropbox because I'm I think it's probably too late for me to like postmark it. But yeah, I'm one of these people in the outstanding mail ballots. I actually got a text. I'm grateful for this. I actually got a text from my county saying, "Hey, you haven't returned your mail-in ballot yet." I'm like, "Wow, good job for keeping track of this." But yeah, definitely that is this weekend. Mm, yeah. So there's this data set, but then I also have my hands on this data set also, which I haven't had a chance to look too deeply into. Hmm. I don't think it's as updated as this one, but ooh. So let's see. So today I was hoping to kind of explore um, what this data set gives us and then kind of uh, brainstorm on potential design for this story. And this story is supposed to be kind of the kind of general outline of the story. The headline of the story is that um, early voting numbers for this year has already far kind of gone beyond 2016 numbers, which I think there's been a lot of headlines like that already. I think there's been quite a few headlines. It's like early voting this year surpasses early voting last year. Um, and so I was trying to think of like what can we do from a visualization perspective that like kind of adds more context to that. And I was thinking, I was brainstorming this morning that some of the extra information we have is not only um, the number of early voting, the numbers for early voting, but also kind of the dates for early voting. I think this is the early voting data for each of the states this year, and the duration. So I think there's maybe something we can do about the duration, and then something we can do probably about, there's also data about the mail-in ballot dates from Ballotpedia. I've been finding Ballotpedia to be like really amazing resource. Mail-in voting. Hmm. Yeah, so there's been request deadlines. And then return deadlines, which I did not know Alabama has for mail return deadline to be November 2nd. So I do kind of wish that I had um, information about when people received their mail-in ballots to be able to, like, what was the length of time that, yeah, they had the ballots for. I'm not sure if I can find that information. Hmm. I wonder if 538 has that information. Hmm. Ooh. Yeah, I want the first day ballots are sent. Does it say? Received by mail no later than November 20th. Oh, wow, I didn't know absentee ballots can get processed October 5th. Hmm. Oh, yeah, this is the information I want. October 5th by October 5th. So sent automatically by October 5th. I wonder if they have that information for everyone. Oh, wow. They do. Cool. I wonder where they're getting their information. Their ballots are mailed starting September 9th. Wow. their voter registration or their ballot request deadline is October 29th. Wow. Where do they get their data? Secretary, wow, they went through Secretary of State, county clerks. Wow. It's amazing. Okay, so I feel like I'm getting distracted by this potential data. So let's not get distracted by that. And let's keep looking at what I have available in this data set. Do I have ballots sent or requested? Actually, I'm going to pull up my iPad. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, so let's start taking notes about the data we have. Today is the 28th. So we have I state, and then we have ooh, that's right. We have a lot. Okay. Ballots requested, sent. Actually, ballots requested and sent are two different categories. Ooh, cast. Okay. No, stop. Okay, sometimes I'm really annoyed by this UI. That may just be because I never took the tutorial, and so I'm not using it correctly. Okay, so then this is mail ballots cast. Okay, so that's good. Early in-person cast. Total date of last update. Early in-person cast. Okay. Advanced votes? Total advanced in-person? Wonder what's the difference between in-person and advanced. Total advanced votes. Advanced? have to ask about that. So this is total. I need to ask about total ADV cast, question mark. Okay. Percent cast compared to 2016 general election, 2018 general election. Ooh, Democratic Party, GOP Party, Independent Party. Wow. Other other percenty cast. Why is it percent? Why? Other party cast. Okay, that makes much more sense. Ooh, there's demographics. Okay. Wow, okay. Demographics. Seems like there isn't as much data here. Actually, it seems like only 3 states have given that data. Let's see. So that might actually not be very good to use because there isn't much data here. But I'm gonna write it down anyways in case it does come in useful later on. And then they have gender. Oh, and then they have ages. But again, not many states have provided that. Ages and what looks like every 15 years? No, that's 11 years. Oh well. Age groups. 18 to 29, 30 to 44, and 45 to 59, and then 60 plus. And ages, ooh, okay. Total press without write-in. Wonder what that means. Total ballots cast 2016. Okay. Total advanced cast 2016? Total press without write-in. Man, there's so many. I wonder if there's like keys somewhere. Nope. Total advanced votes present 2016. No. I wonder if this pres is president or present. Total advanced votes. So this is all 2016 and then 2018. Data based on total race votes without write-in. Okay, not 100% sure about the rest of this. So I think I'm gonna stop here. And then 2016 data roll up. I see. Okay, so this is a sample data set that I think I will have access to kind of it updating. So how do I want to use this data set? Total ballots cast. Then there's also ballots cast by this point in 2016. What do I want to show? What would be, okay, at this point in time, what would be, okay, so let's brainstorm. Do this. I need to like rearrange my desktop because this is not, okay. So, the goal of this story is progress of early voting 2016 versus 2018. And kind of the story of it is the action is continue to vote early, I guess. Is I don't know if there's actually like an action for this one. I think it's more like a like this is good. So what would actually make it informative? So I was thinking about, for example, let's say for early voting, if we like took a look at, actually, for example, Alabama should not have early voting. Huh. This, oh, because this Alabama is mail-in ballots. Okay. I actually really don't know what I would do better than, like, I wonder if this is one of those, like, it's a simple story and people have already done it. Yeah, there's like so many people that have already done this story. Yeah, pre-election voting surpasses all 2016 early ballots cast with 8 days left until election day.
How will all this early voting affect election night?
Okay, stop. Oh, I am so bad. I have not paid for Washington Post. wait, hold on. Blue Ray Dawn says, I've done this just for North Carolina, and it's a lot of work if you're getting data directly from the state. Wait, do you mean early voting data? Which data are you talking about? So, I do, I do feel like this is, so actually, I think this is a potentially really good conversation to have, which is, actually, let me dig into this a little bit more. Hmm. Wait, but the early voting data um, is the is what you get from the elect project not enough, or like what makes it so that you have to get it directly from the state? This is purely a question of like I still don't fully know how these things are aggregated. I actually haven't looked into how um, the elect project is aggregating it. Actually, these are great. Um, Actually, I'm wondering what his methodology is. Like, how is he getting the numbers? Oh, he's doing it from state reports. Oh my God, that is amazing. That must be like so much kind of manual updating. I think he has it published somewhere. He has the data set published somewhere. Hmm. Wow, my eyes are really hurting. Ah, oh wow. Oh, is it because you're trying to get county data? Is that why like because yeah, the select project is by state. So then I guess if you want county data or precincts, that's right, you're right. So I guess for me, I'm just trying to look at it nationally. So that's why this is probably a good enough data set for me. I shouldn't say good enough, like as if, no, this data set is amazing. Like, I'm not trying to say, like, no, this is a great data set, but like, this works for me. Oh, so the thing that I was wondering about is I feel like what this may or may not account for is the fact that um, there are many more states. So this title that's like has already hit 51% of total 2016 voting. Does it does not take into account the fact that not as many states offered early voting in 2016, either as like mail-in ballots or as like in-person early voting. So in 2016, there was only 34. Yeah, so there was only 34 states. Oh no, sorry, 35 states that offered early voting. And then in 2020, how many are there? Actually, it seems like in 2020, there's 45, because that includes territories, that's right. This also, is this purely, so yeah, there's that, the fact that not all of them offered early voting in 2016, and also not all of them, most of them, I don't think, offered mail-in ballots in 2016. And so I feel like they are trying to make, I think a lot of these, let's see, so 2016, in 2016, yeah, like, I think, is it that in 2016, not every state offered no excuse mail in, like, no, not every state offered no excuse absentee voting in 2016. So then I think in 2016, probably a lot of people voted on election day. Yeah. So I feel like, I think it's a good direction that a lot of these states, a lot of these news articles are going towards that. Look, election turnout is like, this is such a crucial election. There's so much more turnout than 2016. But I wonder if it addresses the fact that, yeah, like you're saying, yeah, it's like Blue Radon is saying, it's misleading because pandemic, controversial figure in the White House, completely different than 2016. Yeah, yeah. So there's the distribution over time. I think it is very misleading because it's like of course in 2016 most people voted election day. So I feel like what these like articles are trying to say is like, look, there's potential for overall turnout to be higher this year than 2016, but that's not a guarantee. It might just be the same number of people voting, and we've all just shifted towards early voting. So there is that, and then I think this also doesn't take into account. Yeah, so this is also like New York has 1 million votes to date. But that's because they did not offer any in-person early voting in 2016. I don't know if they offered no excuse absentee voting in 2016. So yeah. Ooh, hello. Hello to Nalaj and to Disc Dino. Welcome back. Frankly, I'm surprised California didn't hit more than 80% mark. Yeah, this is as of published on data updated today at 2 p.m. Hmm. So, yeah, it's probably that California, there's probably going to be a lot of people just dropping it off at a Dropbox, probably. So I think Oregon, Washington, and Colorado are three of the all male states. So they're at, yeah, they're about, all three of them are at about 2/3 right now of the 2016 total votes. But again, like, actually, I'm kind of confused as to what they're defining as early votes versus total votes. Because, for example, for Washington, like, because um, they're all mail-in ballots. So then do you count that as like part of the total votes, or do you count that as early votes? And if you don't count mail-in ballots as early votes, then what is the early votes? That's 2.2 million. I've Okay, so I'm gonna stop being confused by this graphic. Um, maybe if I actually read the article, maybe it will tell me more. Um, but hello, Amy. No worries at all. Yeah, it's a. I'm feeling something this morning too. I think I need to. I feel like I'm on the edge of a cold, so I probably need to like take it easy this morning too. Um, Yeah, this dino says early votes might imply in-person votes. But then like that's why I'm like this makes no sense because like Washington, I think in 2016 was also okay, wait, hold on. I'm not sure about Washington, but for Colorado, I am pretty certain that 2016 Colorado was an all mail-in state, as in like they did everything by mail-in ballots. I'm pretty sure that that was the case. Um, mm, Yeah, I feel like this abstracts away. I guess that's fine because um, every state does things so differently that, yeah, I guess that's okay. Um, but yeah, like Colorado is like an all male state. Sorry, all male in state. So then they have very few in-person votes. Um, but yeah, Blue Radon says it varies widely. And states report differently. For example, in South Carolina, they don't specify how many mail ins. They do say how many early in person votes have already voted, but their total absentee number is mail in person combined. Whoa, what? So, actually, I have a question of like, what is an in person absentee? Like, isn't that by itself like a oxymoron, an in person absentee? Like, isn't the whole point of an absentee vote that you can't make it to the place, to the polling place to like vote in person? So like what is an in-person absentee? Is that like when somebody just has an absentee ballot and then they just drop it off in person? So then is that the same as like when somebody drops their mail-in ballot in person? I feel like this whole mail-in ballot versus absentee ballot thing is very confusing to me. Looking at this map, it's just all the early voting. Is it? Oh. Oh, I see. It's just people who go to their election office and vote early. Wait, so absentee in person is voting in person early, but then an absentee ballot is one that gets mailed to them? Oh my God, I am so confused about the terminology right now. Wait, hold on. Because there's absentee ballots, and that I was under the impression was like those were mailed. Or is absentee just means that they cannot vote day of, and that's all that means. Like they just so absentee does not necessarily equal mail in. They just mean they cannot vote day of. I feel like this is probably an additional complexity is probably that every state defines it a little bit differently. Um, and for South Carolina, it'd be very hard to get the number of actual mail-ins because some ballots are emailed back. What? Emailed back? Oh, Blue Radon says absentee in my mind means they can't vote on election day. Got it. Um. Oh wow, Nalaj, where do you live? How do you get it done in one day and have the results the next day? Yeah, you and me and a lot of people find this very confusing. Okay, wait, I was about to do something. Oh, I was about to read this and be like, maybe they. Mm. Oh, 2016 was 140 million. Okay, not 160 million. Oh, so we're halfway there. That's what this headline was. Okay. Yeah, so they're saying that like we've already surpassed 2016 early votes, 6 days towards the election. So they probably are trying to say that we surpassed it, what, 4 days ago or 5 days ago? Yeah, so they do acknowledge that early voting has been expanded. More voters than ever before can vote by mail. Mm, yeah. Others, such as New Hampshire, are allowing all voters to cast ballots by mail for the first time. Wow. The UK, they do it in the night. Actually becomes a bit of an event. I can imagine. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the US, they do it mostly in the night. Like it's mostly supposed to be finished counting. Like I think, well, I think it's not that it all gets counted in a night, but then it like enough of it gets counted in a night, and then there's like weeks after where they're like verifying that the results are correct. I think is my understanding. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to find. This is by method for South Carolina. Oh, I was like trying to click on your link, Blue Radon, and like kept on disappearing. And then I just realized that it's an Excel spreadsheet. Really? Nalaj says in the UK, we literally have counties that compete with each other to get results in early. Sunderland usually gets it in within 3 hours. The worst takes like 12 hours. So, what is it? Well, so I guess we have to acknowledge scale here of like UK is a smaller country with less people. So, that's probably, I'm guessing that like each area has less ballots to count, I'm guessing. So, I think that I guess should be acknowledged. Um, But even then, like, what, like, is it, like, do you have, oh my God, is it the voting machines that you have? Like, what makes it be counted uh, so quickly? Ooh, hi, Isna. Welcome in. Isna says afternoon. Remember, does that mean that you're on the East Coast? Find the return counts. You have to look at completely different spreadsheets that abstracts the methods away. What is this? Oh my God, my eyes hurt from looking at this. Request ballot issued. I'm trying to zoom in on this. Phone. Oh, you can request applications by phone. Okay. Issued. Okay, so this is basically the number of ballots sent, requested and sent. Okay, okay. But ooh, you're central. Cool. But then I feel like this doesn't look too bad. I don't think. Still interesting to like by email. That's what you were saying. By fax. Online in person. Okay. Oh, hello. Hi, Nash Fedorova. Welcome back into the chat. To find the return counts, you have to look at completely different spreadsheet that abstracts the methods away. Oh, that's what you were saying. Yeah, yeah. Everything is by paper. What? In the UK, everything is by paper. Huh. Mistake? Hello, Mistake. First time I voted in the UK, it felt very informal compared to US. Just checking boxes on paper. How? It's probably how it should be. It's just that simple. Okay, what was I trying to get at? Oh, I was trying to get at, like, trying to figure out if there's actually a good story to tell here about, like, early voting, 2016 versus 2018. Because, like this one, like this article is acknowledging, it's that I think because of the pandemic, there's like a lot more requests for absentee ballots and like early voting. Wow, record-breaking number showing up on the first day of early voting. Oh, that's great. Expand to see all of, oh, this is only, oh, cool. This is only battleground states. 2016 vote total. This is a great graphic. Yeah, okay. So they do acknowledge this. Is whether these 2020 early ballots are additional voters or just people who have voted on election day anyways. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good statement. For states where early ballots can be matched against a voter file, roughly 1 in 5 voters have come from someone who did not cast a ballot 4 years ago in the same state. Oh, in the same state part is important because then like people could have moved around. What? Oh, okay. So this is Wow, that is a very confusing way to say that these are new voters. What? It's a share of ballots cast by voters who did not vote in their state 4 years ago. Oh, they cannot just say new voters because this is they're okay, they're acknowledging that this is new voters. This is new voters and people that have moved. Okay, so I see why they had to say it like this. It's such like a roundabout way. So, and also it's okay. Share of ballots cast by voters who did not vote in their state 4 years ago. Um, yeah. So the thing that I've been. Oh, hello, Fragment Shader. Um, yeah. The thing that I feel like I'm learning from this project is how everything is made even more complicated by the fact that every state is in charge of their own election process. Even if the election is for like federal offices, um, because yeah, so then every state is in charge of their own election process, and so just like everything is complicated because every state like implements it a little bit differently. Um, Blue Radon says some places do it electronically and some do it on paper by bubbling and which candidates they would like to vote for by race. Yep. Yeah, North Carolina has a voter file. Nalaj says, based on what I've heard, US polling stations are far less numerous compared to the UK, which usually has a polling station every few miles apart. Wow. Um, yeah. Rajon says, I do wish that it wasn't so localized. It makes everything a pain. Actually, that's another thing I was really curious about, and it was just too hard to get the data for, which is like the number of polling stations in an area. Really wanted that data, but it was going to be really costly. Like there is that data, but it just costs a lot. Um, ah, okay, so they do explain it. So moved to a new state, turned 18, or sat out on the last presidential election. Oh, I guess 2016, the 139 million was historically high too. Yeah, I'm glad that they're acknowledging this, that the number of Americans who voted will be similar to numbers in previous presidential elections, though they just used different methods. Yeah. Actually, what is the um thank you. Husband heard me coughing and struggling with my throat, so he delivered some tea. Thank you. Oh yeah, sorry. Blue Radon says it costs to. Ooh, this is nice. Ooh, this is nice. So now I have coffee, tea, and water on the same table. Yeah, so it costs to get. So it. Sorry, I should have said that. Um, like everybody can look up their polling stations, but then the way that you look it up is by address. Like you enter in your address, and they tell you which polling station to go to. And my understanding is that like everybody is assigned a polling station, and you can't go to one. You cannot go to one. I think you're actually no, sorry. I think you get a list of polling stations in your jurisdiction, I think, and then in your precinct. I can't actually remember anymore because I usually like do a drop off mail in ballot, like drop off ballot. Um, so I think do you get assigned one polling station or do you get like a list of polling stations that are in your precinct? So anyways, like you put in your address and then they say which polling stations you can go to. But then if you want like the data at like a state or national level, like you have to aggregate it somehow. And Google has an API that's like the Google Civic API, I think, where you could query where the polling stations are. Um, but then you still need, so even that API, you can query it to aggregate at a state or national level, but you still need to give it an address. So that Google Civics API is just meant for like, if there's like a campaign that wants to build out their own version of like a polling station lookup, that's what it's for. Um, so then if you don't want to do that, um, and you just want the already aggregated version, with where all of the polling stations are, that costs money. Yeah. Interesting. This dino says, another interesting pattern I want to know, people still vote by ballot when they move to new state. You mean like they vote by ballot with their old state? Is that what you mean? So we should see a certain number of decline in in-person voting correlated to ballot voting. Hmm. Oh my God. Knowledge says here's a free to access source of all the polling locations in Scotland. If only that was true for the US. But again, I mean, like the US, I'm guessing that data set is just so large. And yeah, that data changes a ton for the US. I think it changes a lot every election, it seems like. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what you mean by would this be California rules as well. Um, sorry, just I know I'm a little bit confused. So you're saying, this is my understanding of your comment is that you're saying if someone moves to a new state, they're still going to vote absentee in the old state. So we should see a certain number of decline in person voting correlated to ballot voting. That's the part I'm not quite understanding. A decline in in-person voting correlated to ballot voting. Um, oh, oh, okay. So are you saying that like, so you're saying my neighbor moved from Florida, he's voting into Florida election by ballot. Like, are you saying that there's some people that um they moved from somewhere and that somewhere is like maybe a battleground state or something like that, and so they're gonna mail in vote into their previous state, or like even if it's not a battleground state, they're just gonna like move in. Oh, sorry, they're just gonna like vote. Um, is it primarily because where they used to live is a battleground state, so they're like, oh, my vote counts more in my previous state, so I'm going to like mail in ballot instead of in-person vote in my new state. Um, oh yeah, so there is also like absentee voting from abroad. Uh, Although that is very interesting. I've never thought about that. Like if you live abroad, so you don't have like a permanent address in any state in America, but you are a US citizen. Like, so are you implying that like those people can register to vote in any state? Which would be really interesting because then like you can be strategic about which state you register to vote in. That's so interesting. Wow. I've never thought about that. Huh. 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 Oh, okay. Fractal King Dream says, I think it has to be a state you've had established residency in, though, right? You have to have an address or something. Like, what if you get like a virtual post address, essentially? Um, because there are those services where like it's the kind of service that's like made for people that live abroad, so that they can like still receive mail in the U.S. Um, and then they can live anywhere abroad, and there's the the service just like checks the mail for you from like a certain address. So technically speaking, you can set up a virtual post box anywhere in the US in like any state and then register to vote wherever your virtual post box is, like mailbox is set up. That's a lot. Well, I guess it is pretty important. So, but that's, yeah. Whoa, that's so cool. Rotten boroughs problem. What does that mean? Astronauts to vote in space. How does that work? That's so cool. That's so cool. Typically stay in space for 6 months missions. So they complete a form ahead of their launch. Wait, hold on. I'm getting really distracted. This is a rabbit hole. That was awesome story. Um, okay, so there's this. I'll be honest, I'm really, really struggling to find like a story or like I'm almost like considering that like there isn't a story for me to work on. Or as in like I don't know if I can do a story better than, for example, the Washington Post one that we just read. Um, like I don't know if I let's see. I don't know if I have anything more to add. Hmm. Yeah, I need a niche to compete with the Washington Post. Oh, is this rotten and pocket burrows? Oh, it's a thing. Oh, it's specifically a UK thing. Problem where constituencies with tens, if not less people can vote a politician into our parliament despite some places. Okay, question, Destino. What is my niche? Like, I feel like what we learned from that is early voting numbers are higher, but it could just be the same people, could just be the same people as before that are just now voting earlier. I feel like the only interesting angle that they didn't quite cover is the new voters. Yeah. So I feel like that's the only interesting angle. That's the niche. Um, King James says, I mean, if you learn to work with complex US election data, you can probably work with pretty much any type of data. Um, what is, Marge says, what is the change in relation to easier voting compared to the places that already had easier voting? Ooh, ooh. What an interesting. Okay, so that's so interesting. Oh, chat, you're so good. Um, that is so good. I feel really weird by addressing you collectively as chat. I don't know. Um, uh, that's so interesting. Hold on. Let's see. Change. So easier voting. So especially with like mail ballots and ballots, higher turnout? Question mark. So change relative to places that already had easier voting. So I guess we can define easier voting as length of uh, like early voting duration and no excuse absentee. So I feel like there is a potential confounding factor of a pandemic. Um, I feel like, though, I do feel like there is some potential between these two things. So, like new voters, there is something like new voters. Like I feel like the two confounding factors is one, there's a pandemic. Two, kind of controversial. This is what I think was it Blue Radon that mentioned this earlier? Um, and I'm gonna I'm gonna credit this to Nalaj so I don't forget. Whoa! AOC's Twitch stream reached more than 500,000,000 views collectively. Um, although I don't know if how do you tie it back to that though? Um, like how do you tie back someone's Twitch stream back to new voters? Better accessibility and more options. Hmm. Did I spell that right? Yeah, okay. And more options. Every time I like share my iPad, I get really aware of how messy my writing is. um, there is a way to account for those confounding factors responsibly. Just look at date and age. Yeah, you mean date and age for in terms of AOC's Twitch stream. But like, yeah, I mean, you can say date and age that somebody like signed up or voted, but we can't like we can't assign all of those to like AOC stream. Um, yeah, I mean that's fair, Fractal Cane Dream. I agree with you. Um, it's weird because I feel like I'm learning so much about the election process, but know so little about this actual election. Like I still need to do all of the research for um my ballot and like all the props on my ballot and um all the candidates on my ballot. Like I know almost nothing about the local candidates, which is bad. I need to do the research. But I'm at least learning a lot about the election process itself. So, oh, I didn't know that Blue Raid on. So Knowledge says, in terms of the effects of corona against voting, can compare the delta between the different states. Delta between the different states of how much how much coronavirus is like coronavirus cases there are, or I feel like it might be one of those like confounding factors where we're like acknowledge the confounding factors in the methodology. Like sometimes there are like if we try to account for every complexity in the real world, it's like a never ending thing. So I think maybe it's that we make the first statement like which I really like. We make this statement and then we acknowledge the confounding factors in the methodology or like as like a kind of like a part of the conclusion where like there are obviously confounding factors uh, but that doesn't change the fact that there is much more early voting. Definitely a very interesting one to think about. hmm I wonder, so this whole early voting thing we were going to do before the election, but I wonder if this story is actually better for post-election of like easier voting equals higher turnout, and then like have this story be both early voting and like election day voting numbers together. I wonder if that would be much better. I don't know. I'm gonna have to work through this one more. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I feel like I think it's one that should definitely. I'm glad that we're preparing for it. Um, and there's no way that I'm going to be able to compete against Washington Post and New York Times with their like 50 people graphics teams. Um, I actually don't know how big the Post graphics team is, but the Times is such a big graphics team with like such good people. They're also like super talented. Um, that's a tangent. All I'm trying to say is that I have an account. I have a Times account. You're gonna make me. Why did you sign me out? Okay, so I don't quite want to sign into anything on stream. So, um, yeah, so there's no way I'm going to be able to compete with the resources that the Times or the Post or any of them have. But I think there's something that we can still prepare in terms of a story for like right the day after election day or like whenever we start getting, yeah, I think there is something that we can prepare. And I do agree. Okay, so wow, a lot of these are not really loading. Um, because of my poor laptop. Oh, no, it's because Times is like, you're not subscribed. And I'm like, I am subscribed. Yeah. Yeah, it is I've seen a lot of like reports from Um, like, so the lodge said another issue in this area is that these changes could make it easier to commit fraud, but whenever I've heard voting fraud discussed, it's usually a tiny percentage. And then Blue Radon says it's almost non-existent. Yeah, every time I see reports of like people that actually analyze like voter fraud, it's like 0.0001% or something like that. Okay. This is a very long article. So I think the last, wow, it's almost 12:30. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is I want to define, I want to figure out exactly the data I need for easier voting. So I guess it is the two things we talked about before of, so yeah, I think the thing that I need, these are the data sets I need. To define that. And then I guess I need to figure out um, yeah, I think I need to then figure out how, like, what is the formula that like groups all of these together? Like, how do we quantitatively define easier voting? And then how do we relate that back to the number of people that voted? I do actually really like this table is really great. Total turnout, and then absentee mail-in counts. There was another one that was somewhere here that was the total number of voting age population. Actually, what is the US voting age population? Hmm. Oh, wow. So it was 250K and 50. So it was a little bit more than 50% or 55%. I mean, what we cannot know in here is how many people are citizens. And so this is probably like the denominator is actually probably a smaller number, um, from my understanding of, yeah, voting age, because voting age population doesn't take into account non-citizens. So um, it's probably actually a higher percentage from my understanding. Oh, yeah. Factor King James says, yeah, voting fraud is more of a partisan talking point than a significant issue. Yeah, I agree. Um, Blue Radon says, and when it does happen, they catch it very quickly. Ooh, Blue Radon, have a good luck with all of your schoolwork, and thanks for joining today, and I'll see you next time. So, I actually feel like we made quite good progress on preparing for this story. I think there's a good angle. I think we decided that it's probably much better for after election. So I'm gonna take that back and mull over that, and then I'll probably finish my gerrymandering part 2 story today and then publish it tomorrow morning. And then I think in the timeline, what else do I have in the timeline for before elections? Um, I think I have one about mail-in ballots that were rejected because it arrived past the deadline. So that probably work on that one. It's either that one or the biggest reasons why provisional ballots are rejected. So, like when people vote in person and then they have to file a provisional ballot because there's something wrong, quote unquote, wrong with uh, their ballot. But usually, I feel like it's more a systems error than a person error of um, the provisional ballots. The biggest reasons I feel like are when they go to like the wrong precinct to vote or yeah, I think those are the two stories I have in mind. The um oh, and the wait times. There's another one about wait times. Hmm. Yeah. A lot of potential stories, not enough time. um there's one I really wanted to do about like wait times. But maybe the wait times could be after. I really wanted to do a project of like an interactive where we analyze and show previous wait times, and then we're like, tell us how long you have to wait, um, and then we'll like plot you into the data. But that might be too much. I don't think we can finish that before the election because the election day is next Tuesday. That's less than a week. Yep. Um, yeah, so I think we made pretty good progress on this story. Thank you for joining today. Um, yeah, thank you for joining today. And ooh, hello, Serenify. Hey, that emote is so cute. Um, hey, Serenify. We're actually wrapping up for the day, so I will see you all on Friday, 10:30 a.m. PST. Oh, you were trying to type the wave emoji. It's okay. Um, Hopefully I'll be able to see you on Friday morning. And then I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Oh, the emote is so cute. Um, Oh, anyways, I hope you all have a great rest of the day and thanks for joining in today. Bye bye.